or someone would ask me the other day, she's like, what are you going to do when you actually find someone really similar to you? Would you get along? I was like, gosh, no, no way. Welcome back, everyone, to the next installment of Shower Thoughts. So I've got a bit of a deeper diving question for you today, Leroy, that, we don't talk about these before, but I hope you're ready for it.
All right.
So you weren't born in Australia. You were born in Zimbabwe, for those of you who know you relatively well. What's one of the main things that you miss about your where you were born?
Okay. That is a deep dive one. There's a lot of things I miss. But I guess maybe the big overarching thing I miss is the easiness of life there.
Yeah.
Like, yes, Zimbabwe is a tough country to live in. It's not exactly rich. Probably more on the side of poor, but life just comes with this easiness that that you can't really compare to Australia or sort of any sort of Western country. And like, I get further into that. So the easiness, by that I mean like just the way people enjoy their lives and what they enjoy and what they take for as enjoyment is so different compared to what we enjoy here and what we always need to keep on enjoying.
Yeah.
So essentially, to put it short, I feel like in Zimbabwe, you enjoy more, but with less.
Yeah, it's kind of a bit more simple almost.
Yeah, very simple. And here it's more about, you need the next thing, you need that next thing, you need that next thing. And like, it gives you enjoyment, but then you need the next thing.
Yeah.
And like, it's only sort of a finite amount of enjoyment that you can get from certain things. Like, for example, as a kid, I always wanted the latest PlayStation, latest whatever. And like, that's what I'd be looking at for Christmas, have that pinned on my visualization board. Yeah. And I get this thing and like, the world is all balanced and in place and everything is great. But and then over time, 2 months, 3 months, I end up not even playing this thing anymore. It's done and I'm looking at the next thing.
Yeah.
So that's like an example of that. But and then, for example, in Zimbabwe, when I was there, it could be like my source of enjoyment is getting 50 cents to go and buy some bubble gum. And like that, like getting that bubble gum and chewing that bubble gum, that gives me enjoyment for so long. And then like enjoyment would be like just sort of with my cousins out in the country going and exploring, sort of them teaching me different ways about life, teaching me how to read like the weather patterns, how to cook different foods, how to hunt. And like just those sort of simple things was really my source of enjoyment. And like not too much technology because the country is pretty much riddled with power outages. So you can sometimes, you don't have the luxury of just slapping onto Netflix for a whole weekend because there's a very good chance that the power might go out. And let's not even get started on the Wi-Fi. But I think that's been the biggest thing I've missed.
Yeah.
The biggest difference I've seen, and the biggest thing I try to shift over and accommodate to my life in Australia as much as I can.
I guess that brings me to, another kind of, deeper question too, is do you find that simplicity of life is hard to replicate here, where we obviously have so much more opportunity and so many other things going on that distract us from it? Like, is it hard to bring that simple nature into what is quite a chaotic, westernized life?
Yeah, it's hard because I guess the life here is so competitive in its own shape, like jobs, like social media, like it's really competitive. Like who's living this way, who's got this job, what you're doing with your time. I think it's very hard to bring that in, but it's not impossible. It's about the way I've sort of been able to like sort of bring it in now is sort of awareness and being able to step back and see like, oh, maybe if this person didn't reply to me or if I didn't win this award or get this thing, like it's not the end of the world. Like having that ability to step back and see the finer picture and the greater meaning and everything has sort of been able to help me go back there.
Yeah.
Bring in that simplicity. But it's unfortunately a bit too tough just because, you know, we're all creatures of habit and we have, it's too hard to be like, to let go of your conveniences. Like, you know, Uber Eats, that is sick. Like, you're hungover, it's raining. The last thing you want to do is leave your house. So you order Uber Eats. I find that would be hard to go back and like go in your car and walk to the shops. No way. Like those sort of things are really hard to give up. But yeah, I guess it just reduces the simplicity of just life in that sense.
Enjoying something for what it is without that like instant gratification, like feedback loop.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think it, like I've just kind of watched you go down this journey of, I think, kind of realizing it like a lot over the last, say, year.
Yeah.
In terms of the polar opposites between like where you've come from to where you are now.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's such a tricky thing to try and, you know, realize in such a busy, crazy, like materialistic world that we find ourselves in and we're a part of. Like I'd be lying to you if I didn't say that I love things. Like I love gadgets and gizmos, man. Like I want all the fanciest running gear. Like I want all like the fanciest bits of tech that I can get. But then I feel like it gets to a point where it just kind of holds you back. And then all of a sudden you're kind of chasing the next thing.
Yeah.
But then it's kind of, I totally get what you mean. It's kind of just becoming self-aware of all things that you already have. And like all of a sudden that kind of I feel like for me, just being aware of that kind of slows down my progression of constantly chasing, then like being able to kind of rein it back in and just being able to be happy and settle.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's often that we don't really sit down and just look up, essentially. Like just enjoy where you are. It's always about moving on. Yeah, I got the job. Now it's the promotion. Now it's this. Now it's this. Now it's that. It's always just moving.
Yeah.
And you don't take that time to sit down and appreciate the journey you've come across and what you've done. And I feel like in Zimbabwe, the unemployment rate's 95%. So a lot of people have a lot of time to sit back and essentially do nothing. And like it sucks, but in that way people can live a more simple life.
Yeah.
And I guess another really big thing that wigged me out the most when I moved here was that like in Zimbabwe where I was living, it was a bit of a high density area. So there was people everywhere, like on the street, just like, you know, just it's quite like crazy. Like you've probably seen like YouTube videos or movies of like scenes in Africa where there's like the markets, like ladies with things on their heads, kids running around. It's quite like that. And like coming here, going to school and then going immediately home was the weirdest thing that I could not get used to for ages. Like in Zimbabwe, you finish school, you walk home with your friends, you go inside, just change, get a snack, and then you're out on the street playing soccer. You're always on the street. Like you never really just go into your house and like sit on the TV and like play your gadgets. It's out on the street, laughing, communicating, getting up to mischief, you know, that sort of stuff. Like, so I found that to be one of the biggest differences. And like you would know your neighbor from like 3 doors down. You'd know the person at the top of the street, the person at the end of the street, the person on the other side of the street. Yeah. You would know them. You'd know them very well. The parents there could reprimand you and they could rightly do so. You couldn't come back crying to your mum being like, they hit me because I was doing XXX. They'd be like,
fucking deserved it.
Yeah. Like just that sense of, I guess, like community and village is something that I really have noticed is different. And I don't know, maybe that's just the way it is, like because people have kind of bigger homes here, so it's more spread out. There's like, I guess, stranger dangers everywhere, but like, you know, maybe kids are a bit more cotton wool around here. But yeah, so I noticed that has been big. And even in public, like, how often do you like just, you know, you go and you're commuting to work or commuting to the shops and you're walking or you're at the bus stop and you start talking to the person next to you. You don't really do that often here. It's more like head down and like not really smiling, or you do smile and
earphones in,
and you just go to where you need to get to. But in like Zimbabwe, even when I've been back, I found myself just talking to complete randoms, and I've been trying to replicate that here when I'm on the bus, especially just when I'm out in public, just put my earphones in, if that, and make sure I don't touch my phone till I get to my destination.
Yeah.
Or not put earphones in and try to spark up a conversation with someone. And I've done that a few times and like ended up meeting some pretty funny people. So I think that is also a really big difference. Yeah.
I guess in a way it kind of changes what the meaning of home is for you. Because I know from what from us growing up together that we've replicated some of those things like beautifully. Like we just spend like all the afternoons just not going home until we absolutely had to.
Yeah.
Just stuffing around for as long as we could, just doing absolutely nothing, but just doing everything at the same time.
Yeah. I remember we found those beers like when we were like 14 or 15. We found like beers that must have been probably 2 years overdue.
Yeah.
And like we went like to Coles and like bought a tub, found like this like bush spot that we'd been scouting out to bring couches to chill at, and like hid that there. And yeah, those sort of little adventures.
Yeah.
I think those little ventures teach you so much more about like life and socializing, that maybe like I'm not a kid now, so I don't know if they're doing it as much, but I don't really see as many kids outside. But
no, I don't think so at all.
Yeah.
Like just from my profession, I treat and look after lots of kids.
Yeah.
And just those afternoons just going out and just doing shit for the sake of doing shit, it just doesn't seem to happen anymore. Like I know for me and my brother, whenever we got home from school, it was even probably up until even in like year 7, 8, 9, even maybe year 10, I think we were doing it. We'd come home from school and just play cricket every single afternoon until we couldn't see anymore. And it was just dangerous. It got violent sometimes. We loved it and we hated it all rolled into one.
Yeah.
But it just kind of crafted these bonds of like, I don't know, just competitiveness, closeness, and just like reliance on like just making your own fun essentially.
Yeah.
Like I remember when me and my brother got our first PS3 in year 10 and we got Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. Our parents never let us have like a PlayStation at all up until that point.
Yeah.
We were begging, we were asking, and it was no every time. But like going over to our friends' houses and playing was the biggest treat. It was like, oh my gosh, PlayStation, like Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, like the golden days, was just like the most amazing thing ever. But we were never allowed at home. Like we never really had devices. Like all we really had to do was just bowl these hard cricket balls as hard as we could at each other.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was a way of mum just being like, oh, well, I don't have to worry about them. I know they're out the front. Just I hear the ball banging on the door every so often in fights, but they'll resolve it. It'll be okay. And yeah, I just don't think that's I don't think that's an integral part of growing up anymore.
No. Yeah, it's a shame. But yeah, I don't know what it is. Hey, it's just like technology.
Yeah.
And like you said something too about like making your own fun. I think that's where people have lost it, because like people just get like I'm bored so easy, and like it just sucks to hear, because like people can be like, yeah, I'm bored. You can be bored, but you're not trying to do anything to stimulate yourself. Like it's just like you're saying for the fact of saying I'm bored and then not doing anything about it. It's
like on a hot day just being like, God, it's hot.
Yeah.
It's like, Thank you.
All
right, do something about it. Yeah, I guess just to kind of wrap it all up. Do you remember in the I think it was in the Thor Ragnarok, the Marvel movie. There was a really interesting bit about like what home means essentially. And it was when the goddess of death, Thor's sister, like destroys like Thor's homeworld.
Yeah.
And it wasn't there was a really like important bit which kind of Thor learns along the way, which was that the place wasn't home. Like when they lost the place, that's okay. They didn't lose their home.
Yeah.
The home was the community and the people. And like home is a feeling, and it isn't really attached to a particular location. It's kind of what you bring with you.
Yeah.
And so I think in a way, like, you've managed to kind of, you've taken the bits that you've missed and you've managed to replicate and build them in a different place, and kind of almost like feel that part of you that, you know, needs to feel like home.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's an interesting way of looking at it.
No, it's really thought-provoking, that one.
Yeah.
Marvel movies always teaching us something.
There's always some little deep message in there.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, as you said, home is definitely the people and the connections, and
home is where the heart is.
Home is where the heart is.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, you did awesome. That was a tricky question. And yeah, some very nice insights on what home means to you.
Yeah, thanks, man. Like, now I'm becoming all nostalgic now, reflecting. Thank you for that. Thank you for listening to this. And
yeah, thanks everybody. Tune into our next episode and we'll catch you then.
Peace.